Hello, welcome back to Going Walkabout. It finally happened. The app is done and available in the App Store. Now, before I will show you that, we first go into a little bit more detail what I need to do to get the app approved. If you remember well, the last time Apple rejected the app because of the user-generated content. My flagging mechanism was not enough. It should also be possible for a user to hide a post immediately. So if you feel offended by a post, hide it, you never see it again. And the same thing should be for a user. If a user is in your opinion abusive, you should be able to block it and no further content of that user should be visible anymore. And that is what I implemented. Now I will show you in the simulator the functionality and then I'll explain how I actually did that in an efficient way. So here we see the simulator running and we go to a trip that we don't own because you cannot of course block yourself or your own post in that way. So this is a trip that is made by someone else and I feel offended with this particular post, for instance. So I go to a post, I can click here on the three dots and I can say hide this post and the post disappears immediately. Now if I look into, let's say, what happened in Firestore, we actually have created here in the user record, and I'll explain it in detail, a hidden post with an ID. Now let's go back to the simulator and let's also hide this particular post. Then we can see what is happening. If I hide this post, we actually see here that another post is added. So I show all the, let's say, hidden posts, hidden trips, hidden users inside the user record in a very efficient way. A Firestore document can be 1 megabyte and I thought, well, the number of posts and users that get blocked is never getting that high that it needs a dedicated collection or anything. So I started implementing it this way. And I think it's efficient because I don't need to do any additional queries when I render the user interface for checking whether a post is blocked or not. Now the same can be happening if I say, okay, block this user, block art in this particular scenario. If I block that user, we see the screen is gone empty and we have actually a hidden user with the user ID. And if I go back, it also disappears from that list. So now all future content, or actually all content of that particular user is gone. Now in the settings I built an additional section where I can see the blocked user. So actually you see the user that you have blocked because you might made a mistake or you want to unblock or for some reason. So it's blocked and I can unblock it, and here it also disappeared now from my user context or user record so that I will see the content again. Because if I go here and you see it has disappeared. Now those two posts are still blocked, but that is something that you can do in a similar way. Now you've seen how the functionality works. Let's go and have a look at the code, how I actually did it so that it works in an efficient way. So here in Xcode we see the option or the function that gets called when you actually click on the three dots. So we create an action alert view controller, and then here we go, if it is a post, we have a hide action, hide this post. And we actually call on a class, a shared class, kind of a singleton here, hide post. And I'll go to the details a little bit later, and when it is about the trip, we say here hide the user. So what I've done to make it easy accessible, I have created this user context that we're going to explore in a minute, that actually holds the logged in user record so that we can easily set it to hidden or unhidden if it is necessary. So if we go to that particular user context class, then you can already see here that I have, for instance, the hide post. Now when I hide a post, I check if I have a user. If not, don't do anything. And I keep in a local variable the hidden post because I don't want to refresh the user every time when I update it. That is just the thing I do for efficiently. And then I update that what you saw happening in Firestore, the hidden post with the actual ID of the post, and I store it into the data store. And then when I retrieve the post, I can simply check is post hidden with the post ID. And if the post ID is hidden or found it returns true, and my post won't be shown. And you can see that very simple if I go to the trip post where I actually fetch the list of the posts. Now, if my user context say the trip is hidden, so I'm trying to fetch post for a hidden trip, go out, don't even do a query and return success with an empty list because it's not an error, you've just blocked them, we continue. If that's not the case, we retrieve the posts here of that particular trip and we go through them and we get the post, and if the post is hidden, we skip out. If the user is hidden, we skip out and we append all the posts. Now, this way, because I've actually done it in my data provider, I didn't have to change my user interface for showing and hiding the post or the users, because it all works in the same way. So I created a central entry point through my user context, that is this class that I showed you here, what actually here holds the current user. Now, if that user is null, we don't do anything, and we have the methods to hide and show the user and to manage all those attributes. And then when we retrieve data, we use the same, that user context, to make sure that we retrieve the records, or that we don't show the records and don't present them in the user interface. So this way I didn't have to make too many changes. I have all the hiding and showing of posts, trips and users in a similar fashion in a single component, and I can fetch everything or catch everything in my data retrieval, in my data provider. So it was not that much work. It took a little bit of thinking to work on how to do it efficiently, and it was not that much work. The advantage of my approach is that I don't have to do any additional reads on my data store, so it doesn't cost me any money, except when you hide, you have an additional write, but you were reading that record on login or activating the app anyway, so the overhead is minimum. The disadvantage is if you have thousands of users and posts and all these things you want to get hidden, you might run over the 1 megabyte of IDs to be hidden, and you run into that kind of problems. Well, when that is happening, we'll see, and I'm going to solve it when it is that, because it also means that the app is a success and we aren't there yet. And I don't want to engineer too much for the future. I just needed to get it working, and that's what happened. Now, this was a requirement set by Apple. I had implemented it, and surprised I was, it went through very smoothly. So as soon as I uploaded the new build with this functionality built in, they took it in review, 45 minutes, it was done, and now it's available in the App Store. So I'm very happy what I've achieved, and it's a big milestone. A little bit unfortunate I couldn't do it in 50 episodes, but okay, it has become 51 episodes. So that is still not too bad. Now you can wonder, what is next? Is this the end of the channel? Is it the end of the series? No, absolutely not. I still have a lot of plans for the product. I still have a lot of features to implement. I might even want to go and do an Android version using Flutter, because I kind of like the Flutter thing. I'm working with that professionally now, so maybe do that. But even in the iOS application, I still want to make a lot of improvements. Think about better discovery of trips. So maybe more elaborate user profiles, or a search in the Discover page. As soon as I get a little bit more trips, that becomes an interesting thing to do. Notifications for trips you're following. If someone posts something, that you can create notifications. And maybe I'm going to even do something with ranking or anything. And visualizing the trip maybe a little bit more, let's say, in a timeline kind of fashion. So I still have many ideas, and I will continue working on it, and I will also continue publishing one video a week on the overall app. So if you want to try it out, go and visit the App Store. I will link it below. If you like the video, please like and subscribe. And if you have any feedback, use the appropriate channels through the Facebook page, Instagram page, that is all linked below, to provide your feedback. I look forward to you trying the app, and I continue working on it. And I'm very happy that I've reached this milestone, and that I have, let's say, created version 1. And now it's waiting for version 1.1 and all the others that's still coming. I'll thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.